This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6, the statewide stay-at-home order is in full effect.
It's to make sure that we get through this storm as fast as humanly possible.
RTV6 is working for you to break down what the new coronavirus restrictions mean for you and your family.
At last, we have a deal.
A $2 trillion relief package has been passed by the Senate. The resources it is opening up to businesses and individuals to help during this pandemic. The COVID-19 outbreak is dramatically lowering interest rates on loans and credit cards. How you can take advantage so you don't waste your money.
Everybody's in the same boat here, and we have the ability, so we want to fill the need.
While some restaurants are having to close, a family-owned restaurant is using its business to help others. We'll introduce you to the Franklin business feeding more than 100 people every day for free. Just after 6 o'clock here on your Wednesday morning, we want to thank you so much for joining us here. As you can see, things look a little bit different than they usually do. Our Rafael Sanchez joining us from his living room in Johnson County.
Welcome to our makeshift studio here in Johnson County. Many of our script stations across the country and other stations are doing the same thing. We are practicing social distancing, Meredith, so that we can be safe, that we can also set the example that because of the technology, we can work from home. So my living room is now a RTV6 studio. And Meredith, for you and Lauren, the flowers will shift every other day or so, but this is a homage to you and the team. As I'm missing you as well, and hopefully, we'll be together very soon. But hey, we're going to get through this together, so that's the way it's going to be.
Yes, we are making do, as so many people are right now. We do have some good news for you, though, to start off the morning. Meteorologist Todd Clausen here with us as well. And Todd, today is your pick day of the week weather-wise.
Yeah, and it was an easy choice, Meredith, because we'll have plenty of sunshine and temperatures up into the 60s every other day for the remainder of the week. Rain re-enters the forecast. With that said, there are some minor issues here this morning, and that's some patchy dense fog that has settled in. And if you were with us last hour, I told you that the dense fog was creeping a little further to the east as the skies continue to clear. And look at that, the visibility now down to a half mile in Indianapolis, quarter mile in Muncie, quarter mile in Terre Haute as well. So just give yourself some extra time. Here's a live look from the weather now. Cameron, you can see that fog has settled in. You can barely see the lights there as you look to the north. Temperatures are in the 30s and 40s across the area. As the skies clear, fog will be an issue until sunrise. Once the sun comes up, we'll burn that fog off. By the noon hour, temperatures are approaching 50 degrees. We'll end up in the 60s later on this afternoon. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. We are taking a live look at I-465 at Man Road this morning. We're kind of surprised to see how many cars and trucks are out there here at 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. We haven't seen this much traffic in quite some time since so many of us have been working from home and school has been canceled here over the past week and a half or so. So no issues to report out there, just a little bit more traffic than we have seen here over the past few days. This morning, the statewide stay-at-home order is now in effect. That means everyone is being told to stay home except for essential workers and businesses and needed trips to grocery stores to get medicine or to just get outside. It will last until Monday, April 6th at 11:59 p.m. The governor announced the order Monday, saying it was an essential move to try and curb the growing number of coronavirus cases. The State Department says the total number of deaths in the state has risen to 12. 365 people have tested positive for COVID-19. Nearly 3,000 have been tested. So those big changes now in effect here in Indiana. Governor Holcomb's order going into effect to stay at home right around midnight. This is all to stop the spread of COVID-19. Our Kelsey Anderson is live this morning with all the details on how this will impact your day-to-day life. Kelsey, many people curious, what does this mean for them and their family? What can they do and what they can't do?
Yeah, that's right, Meredith. We've gotten lots of questions sent to us at RTV6 of what exactly this stay-at-home order means. So now it is in effect as of today and will stay in effect until April 7th. Now, of course, that can be reassessed and adjusted as necessary. So the order requires all Hoosiers to stay at home unless you need to get out for necessities. That's things like food, medicine, or taking care of a loved one. You can also leave if your field of work is considered essential. All non-essential businesses will be closed during the order. The governor is urging the public to not only look at the coronavirus cases that have been confirmed in Indiana, but where we are headed if we don't act right now.
The numbers don't lie. And if they don't put a little fear of God in you to act and act now and fight back now, I don't know what would.
We did speak to Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter to get some of your questions about the order answered. He says people should not fear the stay-at-home order. He tells us Indiana residents will likely not see heavy-handed enforcement from police at the state, county, and local level. However, Carter says if you are openly disregarding the order, you could face a fine. Now, to see if your business is considered essential or non-essential, plus everything you need to know about the coronavirus here in Indiana, head over to theindychannel.com. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Plans are underway to build a medical facility to help stop the spread of COVID-19 among Indianapolis's homeless population. The Indiana Family and Social Services Administration announced the operation, saying the facility would be ready in a matter of days. The administration says the homeless are among the state's most vulnerable groups during a pandemic. Those who test positive for the virus will be taken to the facility for treatment. Free emergency department beds will also be placed across the city for additional patients needing care.
We plan to accept the first individuals within the next few days. We will also work with additional communities to replicate this collaboration across the state of Indiana. A donation made by the Lilly Endowment that is unencumbered will enable us to do many things, including this incredibly important project.
The state has not released where that medical facility is going to be. They did say it will be staffed by Eskenazi Health, and the National Guard will run security.
The time now is 6:09, and we're live from our makeshift studio here in Johnson County. Let's talk money, because new this morning, Congress has passed a $2 trillion relief package meant to help businesses as well as Americans on Main Street. Of course, it took some time to get to this deal because the politicians were arguing over the specifics, but a deal is now done.
It's good news for the doctors and nurses in emergency rooms around the country who are waiting for more masks and more funding. It's good news for families all across America. At last, we have a deal.
That plan will give direct payments to most Americans, expand unemployment benefits, and help small businesses pay their employees. Hospitals will also be getting financial help, and also will be rushed resources from that proposed deal. Starting today, several local organizations will be working with the city of Indianapolis to provide child care for those who are on the front lines of the COVID-19. People like police officers and firefighters. Specifically, the program will serve families of Metro Police and Indy Fire, as well as public safety communication employees who will be eligible for this. They will be given a code, and that code will give them a discount on the cost of childcare by 50%. The YMCA is one of several providers participating in the program.
So this evolved very quickly. Obviously, with the news of the virus, we wanted to make sure that we were able to serve our community. Part of our mission of the YMCA is to support our community when there's a need. So we think the need is definitely going to go up. Knowing that most schools are not going back until at least May, we know that care is definitely going to be essential, and we are here to be able to provide that for staff and hospital nurses and doctors.
And there may be great demand for this service. The YMCA right now is concerned that space could become an issue. If you have a location that could be used, reach out right now to the greater YMCA. They tell us that a new location can be prepped in as little as 24 hours.
A local restaurant is opening its doors to help members of their community impacted by the coronavirus. We'll introduce you to the Franklin Pizzeria, feeding more than 100 people every day for free. Todd.
And Meredith, the visibility an issue here this morning as you take to the roadways, if you have to do so at all, as visibility across much of central Indiana has dropped now below 1 mile. It's becoming more widespread as the morning goes on. Good news is it doesn't last all that long into your morning. We'll talk about that. And the sunshine that's heading our way by this afternoon in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 6:12. We're back in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Dream Mattress Studio at Value City Furniture.
Ahead, and here are TV6. The time now is 6:15. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana from our studio here in Johnson County. As you know, the service industry and its many employees have taken quite a hit because of the COVID-19. Here at RTV6, we're committed to several things, including to focusing on local establishments that are open and ready to serve you. In today's We're Open Indy, our fellow co-anchor Lauren Casey came down to Franklin, here just about 20 minutes south of Indianapolis, to focus on a family-owned restaurant serving free meals to more than 100 people in need every single day.
We're making food out of anything, you know, all these contributions from other folks too.
It's 5 o'clock in downtown Franklin, and south of the courthouse, Main Street is quiet. But inside Richard's Brick Oven Pizza,
tonight we've got a pasta dish with lots of veggies and chicken.
The centerpiece brick oven is ablaze, and a few busy hands prepare to feed hundreds.
You know, everybody's in the same boat here, and we have the ability, so we want to fill the need.
Filling the need while filling bellies. Richard Goss is the owner, and he's proud to partner with Chef Andre's World Central Kitchen, a global organization working to create food resiliency in the face of disasters.
It just seemed to be the right thing to do.
In a time of uncertainty, people in the Franklin community can know they have a warm meal waiting.
We just come to the car and say how many.
Yes, we are. How many do you have?
We want you here. We want you to take care of your family.
And take care of the most vulnerable. We talked to a Good Samaritan not wanting any recognition, picking up meals for her senior neighbors.
There's just this attitude of what can everybody do to help others, and I think that represents our community of Franklin.
As she tells the staff how many meals she needs, she tells me people here are not panicking.
I grew up here, and my husband grew up here, and we moved back after living away, and it really is that type of community.
And that is Franklin. Restaurants like Main and Madison that closed up shop this week donated what they had in their kitchen to Richard. The owner of a local cocktail bar, The Mint, lends a hand in Richard's kitchen.
You know, we just started doing this with no regard for funding, but the community has, you know, everybody's stepping up. Let's take care of each other.
In Franklin, Lauren Casey, RTV6.
Lauren, thank you so much. If you are in need of a meal, anyone is welcome. They're open from 6 to 7. They will bring the food out to your vehicle to practice social distancing. Of course, the restaurant is also open to provide carry-out foods if you are interested in their items there here in Franklin. It is now time to check your forecast. Let's see what meteorologist Todd Clausen has on his menu on this Wednesday.
You know, a little bit of patchy fog this morning in Raphael, but then plenty of sunshine later on this afternoon. So overall, it's a good forecast for you on this Wednesday. I've been watching these visibilities, and they've been fluctuating throughout the morning hours. And if anything, the lower visibilities have been expanding further off towards the east. We're below 1 mile in many locations: Crawfordsville, Lafayette, Frankfort, up towards Peru. Logansport will slide down to the south, on the half a mile now in Bloomington, 4/10 of a mile in Indianapolis. So you'll have to use some caution if you do have to get on the roadways. The fog will be with us until sunrise, which is a little before 8 o'clock, and then you probably have to give it another half hour to 40 minutes or so for the sun to get higher above the horizon to start to burn that fog off. But once we do, we'll be in pretty good shape. It's chilly this morning, 29 in Crawfordsville, so that means freezing fog for you there in Montgomery County. 37 right now is the current temperature in Greenfield. Once the fog is gone, again, plenty of sunshine. That's also when our temperatures will start to moderate evaporate pretty quickly while the fog is in place. We'll hold fairly steady. By the noon hour, 47 degrees, but by 6 p.m., your temperature is up to 60 degrees, putting us above normal. The average high now this time of year is up to 56 degrees. The rain from last night, that is off towards the east. We'll have partly to mostly sunny skies throughout the day today, but looking ahead in this forecast, that's when we start to run into the issues once again, and that's why you need to take advantage of today. Tomorrow we start off dry. The rain doesn't come in until late, so tomorrow's still another opportunity to get out and about, a high of 66 degrees, but Friday the rain comes back, possibly heavy at times as a warm front lifts through. Friday's also a day, I have 64 right there for your temperature, but I do think Friday is one of those days where there'll be a pretty big temperature spread across the area from north to south, with the warmer temperatures being the further south you are. And then as the cold front comes through on Saturday, that's when we'll have the chance of some heavy thunderstorms coming through with a high of 70. Here is the rain for tomorrow. Most of the day is dry. It's not until the evening hours that the rain overspreads parts of the area. But once it starts, that rain is with us off and on Thursday, throughout the day on Friday and into Saturday. The heaviest of the rain, though, is probably Friday night and then throughout the day on Saturday. But once that cold front goes through Saturday evening, then we'll have a quiet stretch of weather Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with seasonable temperatures in the mid-50s.
Todd, thank you. We are taking a live look right now at I-465 at Man Road. We've been commenting here over the past 20 minutes or so just how much traffic is out there for this Wednesday morning. We haven't seen this many cars and trucks out there for about the last week and a half, as many people are working from home and schools are canceled. So we're not quite sure why there is such an influx in traffic, but the good news is that it looks like everything is moving along smoothly. Just be aware of that fog out there that Todd mentioned. As the coronavirus spreads, so do crimes related to it. Officials have seen things like thieves stealing surgical masks to sell, a fake clinic selling fake tests, and scammers trying to peddle cures that do not exist. Hate crimes have also gone up, with groups telling infected members to spend time around those that they don't like. Yesterday, the Justice Department issued a memo saying anyone threatening to spread COVID-19 could be charged under U.S. terrorism statutes. Researchers are turning back the clock to see if a centuries-old practice will work to treat the coronavirus. In the days before vaccines, doctors used blood donations to help fight illnesses. Here is how it works. A survivor of COVID-19 who has built up immunity to it would donate blood to be transfused into someone at high risk for the infection. They would then be able to build up their own immunity. In the past, this treatment has been used as a temporary vaccine for the flu, measles, SARS, and Ebola. The FDA gave the okay for doctors to begin testing this method yesterday. The Fed's decision to drop rates to nearly zero can save you money on your mortgage, your credit card rate, even your current car loan. Coming up, how you can take advantage of these interest rates so you don't waste your money. We'll be right back.
Call 1-877, only ATT.
It is now time for what is trending at 6, and maybe this will inspire you today since we have such great weather ahead. A runner in France didn't let the country's remain indoors restrictions stop him from running a marathon. Yeah. The 32-year-old furloughed worker got creative and ran the 26.2-mile race by going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on his balcony. He completed it in 6 hours and 18 minutes, his record worst time, understandable. He said he dedicated his run to the medical staff working through the pandemic. As millions of Americans spend more time at home due to the coronavirus outbreak, a West Virginia animal shelter is hoping some will take that time to do some good for animals. A Charleston Humane Association held a foster home drive-through. The shelter needed volunteers so the dogs could get some much-needed love while many were stuck inside. Those interested filled out paperwork and were able to drive home with a dog that day.
You are the first responders right now. You are the heroes. We stand with you. Thank you.
And police officers took time to show support for healthcare workers as both continue working on the front lines during the pandemic. Tuesday afternoon, Carmel officers drove through the ambulance bay at St. Vincent to honor the hospital's emergency department workers. Police say now more than ever, it is important to recognize those who work in healthcare. We not only want to thank those who work in healthcare, but those who are still working right now, including grocery store workers, truck drivers, so many people out there who aren't at home with their families at this moment, helping keep our country running smoothly. We appreciate you so very much. And we appreciate Todd Clausen today because of his forecast, some warmer temps and some sunshine.
Yeah, you know, just got to get through a couple hours here this morning with some patchy dense fog in place, but not nearly as many people on the roads as a normal Wednesday morning commute. So that's the good news. You can just kind of hunker down at home, let the fog burn off, and it should do so by about 9-10 o'clock this morning. While the fog is in place, though, it's still a little chilly with temperatures that will be in the 30s. But as soon as we get rid of that fog and we get into the sunshine, the temperatures will warm very, very quickly across the area to highs in the upper 50s from Lafayette to Peru, about 62 this afternoon in Indianapolis. Southern locations right around 63 degrees, maybe a couple 65s will be possible down towards Bloomington as well as Columbus. Enjoy today. It's the best weather day of the week because it's dry and mild. We'll talk about the rain that returns to the forecast tomorrow coming up in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you so much. With millions of Americans losing their jobs or their hours at work cut, people need the help. And with the Fed slashing interest rates, you may want to look at some of your high interest rate loans. Our consumer reporter John Matteries shows you how so you don't waste your money.
One of the few upsides of economic turmoil are plunging interest rates. Mortgage rates were dropping like a rock a week ago, but then they inched back up, and many homeowners are asking, why? 0% interest. Rates on home loans, car loans, student loans, and credit cards are all dropping as a result of the Fed's March 16th slashing of rates. Tom and Alex Munitz are a young couple getting ready for a new baby. So when their mortgage broker called them about a possible refinance, they perked up.
Getting ready to have a baby here in a few weeks, so being able to save any kind of money would be, awesome for us.
Their lender, Breon Price, had some amazing news for them.
We're seeing now sub-3 rates on 30-year fixes.
That would lower their mortgage payment $100 a month. But from the Doesn't That Stink file, those 3% rates now ticking up again because lenders are tightening their belts in this crisis. So you may have a tricky time finding a 3% rate. But there is good news. If you're paying a high rate on your car loan, ask about refinancing. Forbes magazine says this may also be a good time to refinance a private student loan. And best of all, your credit card rate should drop in the next month.
If you're still open to refi, you may want to connect with a mortgage broker who can shop around to a dozen banks or more. That way you don't waste your money. Working for you, I'm John Matteries. Good morning, Indiana.
John, thank you so much. For more cost-saving tips and ideas, visit the money section of our website, theindychannel.com.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is Tuesday, March 25th. Here's a look at your 6:30 news feed. Indiana's number of COVID-19 deaths now stands at 12. The State Department of Health reports 365 total positive cases of the virus. 2,931 people have been tested. A statewide stay-at-home order handed down by Governor Eric Holcomb is now in effect until Tuesday, April 7th. Two of the most recent cases involve public workers, an Indy Parks employee and a Speedway firefighter. The Indy Parks employee worked at Washington Park, but based on CDC guidance, the organization says there is no known risk to residents. The Speedway Fire Department says the firefighter who tested positive has been ordered to self-quarantine at home for 2 weeks. 4 other firefighters are under quarantine orders as well. The NTSB says it is canceling a meeting surrounding a deadly school bus crash in northern Indiana. The meeting was scheduled to determine the probable cause for the 2018 crash, killing 3 Indiana siblings in Fulton County. The driver who hit the siblings, Alicia Shepard, was convicted of reckless homicide and sentenced to 4 years in prison. The federal board now says the vote will be made online, but a date has not been set. It is 6:30 here on your Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. We appreciate it, and we are doing our part here to social distance from one another amid this COVID-19 outbreak. As you can see, our Rafael Sanchez joining us from a new location this morning. Hello down there in Johnson County, Rafael.
Welcome to my living room, our makeshift studio here in Johnson County. Yesterday, I was just 6 feet apart from you and maybe 12 feet from Todd, and now I'm 20 miles away. We're going to practice social distancing, and we're also going to set the example that if you can work from home, work from home. But we're still going to do our job. So here we are, new world, but we're going to keep doing our jobs. Meredith? Todd?
Rafael, thank you. We miss you, and we hope to see you sooner rather than later. We do have some good news to start off with today, and that is in the weather department. Meteorologist Todd Clausen with a forecast that you really can't beat, Todd.
Yeah, you know, it's been a pretty slow start to the week weather-wise. Sunday, we had that rain-snow mixture. Monday, temperatures were in the 40s with clouds. Yesterday, hardly any sunshine. Well, today, we get the sunshine back after probably about 9, 10 o'clock this morning. We do have some areas of dense fog that are out there this morning, so if you do have to take to the roadways and you have to head into work, just use some caution as these visibilities have dropped down below a mile in many locations. Terre Haute, Bloomington, Muncie, Peru, Indianapolis right at 1 mile. So just be a little bit careful. This fog will be with us until the sun comes up, and then once that happens, we'll start to burn it off, and you can see the skies are starting to clear out after the rainfall from yesterday pushes off towards the east. So throughout the day today, just be a little bit patient this morning. And then plenty of sunshine. Once we get into that sunshine, temperatures will warm nicely up into the 50-degree range by the noon hour. Upper 50s to low 60s later on this afternoon for your highs. The time now is 6:32. Let's get another update on the roads with Meredith.
Todd, thank you. We're taking another look at I-465 at Man Road, where we are seeing a lot of traffic in this part of the city this morning. We haven't seen this much traffic in about a week and a half here. Traffic is moving along smoothly. That's the good news, but just anticipate a few more cars out there than we've been used to here these past few days if you're headed that direction. We are working to follow breaking news this morning from the city's southwest side. Right now, crews are on the scene of a house fire in the 5000 block of West Kelly Street. That's not far from South Lyndhurst Drive and Sam Jones Expressway. Firefighters are working to put out the flames at this single-story home. Our crew on scene says the home was vacant, so that is the good news, and they are just finishing up there on that scene in Wayne Township. We will continue to follow this throughout our day on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com.
The time now is 6:33 as we come live to you from our Johnson County studio this morning. We are waking up to a new day here in Indiana as the governor's stay-at-home order is now 6 hours and 33 minutes old. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with more details on that order. Kelsey, fill us in this morning on what the governor wants us all to do. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rafael. So yeah, that executive order is now in place and will remain in effect until April 7th. Now, of course, that can be reassessed or adjusted as necessary as things continue to develop or change with the coronavirus here in Indiana. The order requires all Hoosiers to stay at home unless you need to get out for necessities such as food, medicine, or taking care of a loved one. You can also leave if your field of work is considered essential. All non-essential businesses will be closed during the order. At a press conference, Governor Holcomb said now is the time for every Hoosier to do their part.
That's the whole purpose of Hunker Down Hoosiers. And we're doing the right thing. And to be part of this team, and when I say team, I mean everybody. I'm not talking about this administration. I'm not talking about the executive branch or the legislative branch or the judicial branch or folks who work inside this building. I'm talking about everybody.
Now, we did speak to Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter to get some of your questions about the order answered. Now, he says people should not fear the stay-at-home order. Carter told us Indiana residents will likely not see heavy-handed enforcement from police at the state, county, or local levels. However, Carter says if you are openly disregarding the order, you could face a fine. Now, to see if your business is considered essential or non-essential and everything else you need to know about the coronavirus here in Indiana, head over to the IndyChannel.com. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. The state health commissioner also shared what officials are doing to get much needed medical supplies like gloves and masks.
We know that personal protective equipment is still a concern, and we've requested the rest of the Indiana share from the Strategic National Stockpile. We're also hoping to receive FEMA supplies. To supplement, industries and organizations from all over the state have donated PPE to their local hospitals and their health departments.
Commissioner Chris Box also says the Department of Corrections is making gowns and masks. This morning, Community Health Network says it is accepting donations of personal protective equipment like gloves, gowns, masks, respirators, wipes, and more. The hospital system has launched a donation website and opened drop-off locations to make it easier for people to donate those items. You're encouraged to call 317-355-5599 or email the address you see on your screen if you have questions. You can also find this contact information on our website, theindychannel.com. Testing for coronavirus is now available in every Indiana county, but there still are not enough tests for everyone who develops symptoms. The state health commissioner says they are still doing targeted testing, focusing on the most at-risk populations.
We're leaving the decision of who should be tested in the hands of our various astute clinicians who are on the front line based on the individual patient's presentation, their medical history, and where they work.
Eli Lilly is processing 300 to 400 tests per day and offering free testing for healthcare workers and first responders. Right now, about 13% of all tests done in Indiana are coming back positive.
The time now is 6:37. Social distancing is key to stopping the virus. That's why RTV6 built this makeshift studio in Johnson County to keep us safe, as well as good hygiene, right? So distance and hygiene to stop the virus and also to, as they say, flatten the curve. Health officials want to remind you right now to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, hand sanitizer is the next best thing, but it must contain at least 60% alcohol. So what's the difference between COVID-19, the cold, and the flu, which is really a good question. The chart from the Cleveland Clinic and the CDC sums it all up. With coronavirus, you could have a sore throat, a cough, fever, body aches, tiredness, and trouble breathing. With a cold, you usually won't have a fever, but could have those other symptoms. And the flu, you have all of the same symptoms as COVID-19, except headaches and sneezing are often common with the flu. You don't typically find that with the coronavirus. Here's another reason, a big reason why it's necessary to stop the spread of this virus, especially when it comes to our hospitals. While hospitals across the country are focusing their time and energy on COVID-19, they're still also focused on those that have other emergencies that come into their facilities. From their workers to the equipment to having actual beds for patients to be in, COVID-19, as you could imagine, is putting a major strain on hospitals. So when people come in for other medical issues, they may have to be put on the back burner in some cases.
For instance, a patient who experiences a car accident or a heart attack or a stroke may also need that same critical care resource and ICU bed. But if it's taken up by a coronavirus patient, then we can't take care of the young person who's been injured in a car accident or anyone else who's experienced some other life-threatening injury.
Doctors around the country are hoping that people will comply with the stay-at-home orders, the home orders that's now in effect here in Indiana. They're also hoping to avoid what is currently happening in Italy, where doctors there are choosing who to save and who to let die.
The COVID-19 outbreak is having an impact on adoptions at Indianapolis Animal Care Services. Starting today, IACS will move to curbside appointment-only adoptions. Officials say if you're interested in adopting a pet, fill out an online application, then staff will pick out animals best fit for your family. Staff members will call to set up an appointment. Curbside adoptions will be free. This morning, the president is pushing to get things in the country moving again by Easter. After the break, why the announcement comes as those traveling from New York face a dire new warning. We'll be right back.
Fuel are proud supporters of local literacy.
We have breaking news from London this morning. Prince Charles has tested positive for the coronavirus. A statement just released says he's been displaying mild symptoms, but he otherwise remains in good health. He is now self-isolating at his home in Scotland. Officials do not know who Prince Charles caught the virus from, but he has attended a number of engagements in recent weeks. And this comes as Congress here in the U.S. finally reaching a deal overnight on a massive relief bill to help jumpstart the economy. As ABC's Inez de la Catera reports, it is the biggest economic stimulus package in modern American history.
Overnight, lawmakers on Capitol Hill finally reaching a deal on that multi-trillion-dollar stimulus package meant to help revive the U.S. economy.
It's good news for families all across America. At last, we have a deal.
The deal comes after 5 days of marathon negotiations. Democrats wanted the plan to do more for workers and were pushing for a Marshall Plan for hospitals.
To all Americans, I say, help is on the way.
This as the president reveals he wants parts of the economy to reopen by Easter.
Easter is our timeline. What a great timeline that would be.
According to Morgan Stanley, 3.4 million people filed for unemployment last week. That's nearly 5 times more than the highest week ever. Trump arguing on Fox News, current restrictions may infect the economy to the point of no return.
You're going to lose more people by putting a country into a massive recession or depression. You're going to have suicides by the thousands.
But healthcare experts warn the country is nowhere near ready.
No one is going to want to tone down things when you see what's going on in a place like New York City. I mean that's just, good public health practice and common sense.
In New York City, the infection rate doubling every 3 days. The government now urging people fleeing the city to self-quarantine for 14 days. And New York Governor Andrew Cuomo calling on the federal government to do more.
When we went to war, we didn't say, any company out there want to build a battleship. That's not how you did it. President said it's a war. It is a war.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says a vote is expected sometime today, and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says the president will absolutely sign this deal. Inez de la Catera, ABC News, Washington.
Right now, we have a consumer alert involving some coronavirus test kits, which are a fake. This warning coming in from the Food and Drug Administration. Currently, right now, there is not an approved home version of this test. The FDA says they've issued warning letters to several companies promoting these fake kits, and they're also stepping up screening at ports for kits coming in from other countries. So listen up. This is key. Right now, the only way to get a real test for COVID-19 is from your health care provider. The shortage of masks has crafters across the country dusting off their sewing machines and pulling out fabrics of all patterns, of all sizes, to put them all together for health workers. Patterns for homemade masks, as you can imagine, are all over the internet, but there's one major problem. Experts say they more than likely will not work in stopping the spread of the coronavirus. N95 masks are the only masks that the CDC has said can keep you from getting sick. But these homemade masks, on a positive note, can serve other purposes, like reminding you and me and our family members to not touch our faces.
You hear us talk about working to flatten the curve. After the break, we're breaking down what that really means. Todd.
This morning, we're dealing with some patchy dense fog across the area. There's no dense fog advisory in place for central Indiana, but visibilities are reduced down below 1 mile. Temperatures a little on the cool side this morning in the 30s, but once we burn this fog off, it turns into a great day for us. Plenty of sunshine and highs in the 50s and 60s. We'll talk more about it when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on RTV6.
Legal Group, the strength to make a difference.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Gas prices are taking quite the dive because of the pandemic and the cut of oil prices by Saudi Arabia. Let me take you to Cleveland, right? Because in that city, gas right now is just about $1 a gallon at some stations. We are not that lucky here in Indiana. AAA says the state statewide average for a gallon of regular in Ohio is $1.76. The national level, about $2.10. That's about 50 cents less than a year ago. Now, meanwhile, back here at home in the Hoosier State, the average price of gasoline is $1.81. If you drive down to Johnson County, drivers there in the city of Franklin will pay about $1.39. On the city's east side, back in Indianapolis, drivers will pay about $1.45. And if you drive in Hamilton County in Carmel, you will pay nearly 40 cents more at $1.85 per gallon. A lot going on there. What we know today is that the numbers are pretty good when it comes to your forecast. Let's check that right now with meteorologist Todd Clausen. Hey, TK.
Raphael, good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, by this afternoon, everybody will be enjoying sunshine and decent temperatures. This morning, though, a little bit of an issue here with some patchy, dense fog that has settled in. Visibility down to a quarter of a mile in many locations. As you see here, I always tell you the threshold's 1 mile. Anything below that is when you start running into potential issues, at least on the roadway. So if you do have to venture out, give yourself some extra time. Here's the view in Bloomington. And normally when I would show you this, you'd be able to see a lot of buildings here on campus. You just have to look really closely, and you see a few lights there through the patchy, dense fog. And that's the visibility that you're going to encounter across much of central Indiana this morning. It's cold as well. 28 in Kokomo, 32 in Indianapolis, 39 in Bloomington. But we should see our temperatures jump almost about 30 degrees throughout the day today with more of a southerly wind and some sunshine. So we'll deal with the fog through about 9 a.m. After that, it should start to burn off. Once it does, plenty of sunshine. Right around 47 degrees by the noon hour, and then high temperatures eventually this afternoon will climb up into the low 60s. Keep in mind, with sunset not until 8 o'clock or just after 8 o'clock, our high temperatures are occurring later and later in the day. The rain from last night now well off to our east. We'll continue to see the skies clear out, but you don't get that long of a break from the rain. That's why you really need to take advantage of today and the sunshine and the warmer temperatures, because rain returns tomorrow. We're fine throughout the morning hours, but really in the evening is when the rain ramps up. So if you do have plans tomorrow, maybe to go on a walk with your family, you will be in good shape at least to start the day. In fact, we start off the day with temperatures near 50 degrees. We'll climb up into the low to mid 60s tomorrow, and then the rain will develop throughout the evening hours. And this rain will come in probably closer to sunset. Once it does, it's mainly in northern locations, at least throughout the evening hours tomorrow. And then that band of rain will push off towards the east. We get a little bit of a break at times on Friday, but Friday night into Saturday is when we start to see the heavy rainfall move in. Tomorrow's rain into Friday morning and Friday afternoon only puts down a couple tenths of an inch. Not terrible. We can handle that. But look what happens when I advance this from Friday night into Saturday, when we see rainfall totals anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches across central Indiana. And that will lead to flooding, something we'll have to keep a very, very close eye on as we get towards the middle of the weekend. And then finally on Sunday, we'll dry out. But of course, rivers will start to rise throughout the day on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday are dry as well, with seasonable temperatures, Meredith, in the 50s.
Todd, thank you. A big reason behind the push for social distancing is an effort to flatten the curve. It's a term used when tracking the number of new cases. The more new cases, the higher the curve. The goal is to keep cases at a manageable level so patients don't overwhelm the healthcare system all at once. A population health analyst says it's important to note the efforts we're making today won't show effects for weeks. So many of you have financial worries right now, especially small business workers. Coming up on Good Morning America, a shark is here to help. Barbara Corcoran will share her expertise and answer your questions live. And coronavirus has canceled a lot of things. Straight ahead, we'll introduce you to the state trooper who waltzed in and saved his daughter's dance recital. You got to see this one. We'll be right back.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
When a Nebraska girls dance competition was canceled due to the coronavirus, her state trooper dad waltzed in and saved the day. Like so many activities, her dance season had to be put on hold with social distancing and all. So the students were encouraged to practice by teaching their routine to their parents. That included Lieutenant Krunke of the Nebraska State Patrol. He performed the full routine and was praised for being a good sport. Nebraska State Patrol shared the video, which so far has racked up more than 142,000 views. Now, if only they had a tutu in his size, awesome. I think that would make it complete.
All right, sunshine here this afternoon with temperatures in the 60s, but some fog this morning.
From all of us, thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.